Cecillya, Agnes, Putri, Verdyansyach, absen number 4 from class 10B. This time I will tell you about one of the cruelest dictators in the world, namely Saddam Hussein. I summarize the story this time based on a story that is widely known to the general public. Saddam Hussein Abdul al-Majid al-Tikriti, or known as Saddam Hussein, was born in Al-Aujah, Iraq on the 28th of April 1937. He comes from a Sunni Arab family which can be said to be relatively poor. His father's name is Hussein Abid al-Majid and his mother's name is Sabha Tulfah al-Musalat. But when Saddam was born, his father and older brother died. Because of this, Saddam's mother became depressed. Finally, Saddam, who was still a baby at that time, had to be raised by his uncle, who was also his mother's elder brother, Khairullah Tulfah al-Musalat, until he was 3 years old. After 3 years, Saddam was again raised by his mother. But at that time, his mother was married to a man named Ibrahim Hassan. Well, it turns out that Saddam's stepfather often committed violence and abuse toward Saddam. Therefore, he went to Baghdad at the age of 10, so he could live again with his uncle. While living with his uncle, he was recruited to focus on his education. However, because he is used to living in a harsh environment, he is used to the crime around him. At the age of 16, Saddam became the leader of a street gang. At the age of 17, he took the life of his uncle and me, who at that time served as an Iraqi officer. For this, Saddam was imprisoned for 18 months. After leaving prison, and when he was 19 years old, Saddam joined a party called the Ba'ath Party. This party is a nationalist Arab political party which aims to unite Arab countries. At that time, Saddam was being inspired by the Gamal President Abdul Nasser movement, who tried to combine the states in Arabia, and that time the Ba'ath Party members were still small, so Saddam was interested in joining this little party. In 1959, he joined the end of the life of Prime Minister Iraq Abdul Karim Hashim, and the time Saddam was shot in the legs. Finally, he fled to Syria. Now, this news was heard by Egyptian President Gamal Abdel Nasser. Finally, Gamal arranged so that Saddam could travel to Cairo, Egypt. While in Egypt, Saddam continued legal education at Cairo University. In February 1963, the Prime Minister of Iraq was overthrown, and because of that, Iraq was controlled by the Ba'ath Party. Then Saddam returned to Baghdad and continued his education at the University of Baghdad. In 1969, Saddam and his cousin Ahmad Hassan al-Bakr continued the coup at the Iraqi president at that time, Abdul Rahman Arif. And his cousin finally became his new president of Iraq, while Saddam became vice president and head of Iraq Revolutionary Command Council. During his time as a vice president, Saddam was known to be a very authoritarian. In 1982, Saddam also put up a fight against Shia Muslims, which ended with a massacre of 148 people. And based on the BBC report, Saddam also cleaned Iraq from Failis who were considered as Iranians. Saddam sent security force to the village of Failis village and transported people with military trucks and deployed at the nearest military base, and they were taken across the Iraqi border. This journey passed through a very tight arena and lots of rocks. There were even land mines, exposure to gunfire between Iraq and Iran, who were at war, and many did not survive on this journey. It is estimated that this deportation of Failis was the result of the deaths of thousands of Failis. Saddam ordered the war between Iraq and Iran, which lasted from 1918 to 1988. This war was known as the Gulf War I. In the Gulf War I, Saddam's success in impoverishing Iran in an instant. Iran is lagging behind in development, and this war has claimed many civilian casualties. It is estimated that in Iran around 1 million people died. According to Merdeka.com, this war was orchestrated by United States. United States broke relationship with Iraq to invade Iran, which is one of the largest oil production countries in the world. The United States deliberately provided assistance to Iraq in the form of weapons to cripple Iran. But in 1988, it turned out that Iraq lost. This triggered an economic collapse in Iraq, and conditions became increasingly worrying. Saddam racked his brain about invading Kuwait on accusation that Kuwait was stealing oil in the dispute area. In 1990, the United States heard about this and, of course, supported. Well, this new role is known as Gulf War II. However, suddenly the United States supported Kuwait because Kuwait was an oil importer for the United States. Saddam, who was internally supported by United States, was finally trapped in this condition, where the war became increasingly complicated. His enemies, supported by superpower and their people, had begun to rebel, and finally Saddam conspired with the United States to stop the attack. Meanwhile, he also concentrated on reducing the anger of his people. Not long after, the United States announced to the world that it would embargo Iraq simultaneously. In the end, the Iraqi people became even worse due to the lack of weapons and food. Within 12 years, the Iraqi people had to hold back their anger and the government. The United States troops entered Iraq under the pretext of overthrowing Saddam. In 2003, the United States government, led by George W. Bush, claimed that Iraq has weapons of mass destruction. They also support acts of terrorism, and this was used to invade Iraq in 2010, which is known as the Iraq War. However, there is no evidence that Saddam Hussein carried out the attacks on September 11, 2001. And there has never been any evidence of weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Because of this claim, Saddam became an international fugitive. However, on December 13, 2003, Saddam was finally caught and the Ba'ath Party was officially disbanded. 3 years later, on November 5, 2006, Saddam was sentenced to death by an Iraqi court for his crimes against humanity. Saddam was executed by hanging on December 30, 2006, along with his half-brother Barzan Ibrahim and Awad Hamid al-Bandar. And that's it, the summary of Saddam Hussein's life. Thank you and goodbye.